Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Autistic Tidbits and Tangents podcast. I am one of your hosts, Maja Toudal. I'm an autistic psychologist and author and speaker and mom.
Mhm.
Denmark. um, Also ADHD, and you know, there's a list. And this is Kara Dymond.
Hey, I'm an autistic teacher, university lecturer, presenter, author, whole bunch of things from the Greater Toronto area in Ontario, Canada.
Yay! Yeah. So Kara, we've been doing this for a couple of years.
We have.
Yeah, but today it's about you.
Ah!
So Kara wrote a book, another
Yay!
book,
Another book, yes.
another book. But this one I feel especially is really, really awesome. And we're actually releasing this podcast episode on the day that it publishes.
The day it's released.
Yeah, which is really cool. So this episode is going to be about Kara's new book,
Creating a
Creating a
neurodiversity-affirming classroom. Oh my gosh, I don't have my copy yet. I love that you have
I
one. I
have
know
it.
it's real. I can see it in somebody's hands. Oh my
It is
gosh.
right here. I have it. And it's
Wow.
so good.
Was
And
it
it's so
pretty thick?
beautiful. It's pretty thick. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Actually, you want to compare it to mine?
Sure. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. There you go.
I like our two books color coordinate quite nicely, actually. Yeah.
They actually do. Yeah. Yeah. So let's do this.
Let's do it.
Yay. Welcome to the Autistic Tidbits and Tangents podcast.
Candid conversations between autistic off-hour professionals.
With lots of tangents in different accents.
Each person's viewpoints on this podcast reflect their backgrounds and temporal perspectives at the time of recording, and do not necessarily reflect the views of everyone else. We believe that personal growth comes from listening and reacting to multiple perspectives, and that conversations can be catalysts for change, connection, and greater understanding. Thanks for being part of our community.
Content in today's episode covers educational access, labels, and experiences within educational systems, some of which might be ableist, but generally this episode is very neurodiversity affirming.
I'm always so hyped whenever we start recording.
Me too. Me too.
Like my energy can be so flat.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we hit record, I'm like, let's go.
I know. I'm so excited to have a conversation with you. And, we always, I don't know, at least for me, I'm pretty unfiltered
Hmm.
when we're together on the podcast. I'm not always thinking about or planning what I'm gonna say or
No.
and so it's like pretty stress-free until later when I go, should I have said that? But
See, for me, it's not shoot, should I have said that? For me, it's like, shoot, I shouldn't have said that, should I? That's my ADHD. Like I don't manage to always think.
No, no.
And
Uh,
it's weird because I do it on stage. Like I
yes.
do it if I'm presenting, then
Mhm.
I'm like very mm,
Oh, my
I get
teacher
very conscious.
self my
Yeah,
teacher self is very, um, not I don't wanna say controlled because 'cause I'm not controlled, but, like,
thoughtful.
I thoughtful and I leave space before I speak, like, you know, there's processing time built in for
Yeah,
myself, and I
yeah,
speak more slowly and clearly, and, but, yeah, when I'm just hanging out with a friend,
yeah.
you get the the real
The
time me.
unfiltered
Yeah.
Kara.
"Oh my gosh, so many thoughts, blah, blah, blah."
Oh my god, have any of your students actually ever found the podcast?
I'm sure they have. I'm sure I have been Googled, so, would not be surprised. Has anyone told me? I mean, my adult students, my graduate students for sure, but not
Oh,
my children students.
no. No, and that's the thing, because you teach at at, like, 2 different age levels. You teach
Hmm.
at university, where you
Yes.
teach adults,
Yes,
and you teach elementary.
I do. And it's taught me a lot about learning in general and learners and what
Mhm.
learners need. And there's a lot of commonalities across the age range.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
So, this book that we're gonna be talking about today, I love, by the way.
Oh.
I had the thrill and honor of being a beta reader, so I've already read it,
In
and
various states as well, because
yeah.
you provided a lot of feedback, which I really appreciated and enhanced the book. So thank you for everything that you brought to it too.
No, 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 of course. That's what are friends for.
Mhm.
Um, no, but I really love this book, actually, and I've been waiting to talk about this in public. Um, no, I
Yeah.
really have, because I've been, like, telling my colleagues for
Yeah.
months now, "This
Oh.
book is coming out, and everybody needs to read this book." Um, of course, this is about, obviously, as the title says, creating a neurodiversity affirming classroom.
Mhm.
But we're gonna get into, like, what does neurodiversity affirming even mean?
Mhm.
The first thing I really wanna know is, what made you decide to write this book?
Okay, so there have been many different influences that brought this book into being, I suppose, into fruition. First of all, I had an experience when I was doing my doctoral studies
Mhm,
that stayed with me and became like a question that I continue to try to answer. Um, and that experience was I was in a class. Most of the people who were in this course were working educators coming back for a another graduate degree, whether that was a master's degree or a doctoral, a PhD. I was there for that.
mhm, mhm,
And it was everyone in the class deeply cared about children, about students, whatever age level they taught. They cared about equity, they cared about diversity and inclusion,
mm,
and had that commitment. And we did an activity where the instructor gave us all cue cards. So we had maybe 4 or 5 cue cards or post-it notes. I forget what they were. I think they were
mhm,
post-it notes. And we had to take a marker and we had to write terms related to education on the
mhm,
cue cards. Um, any terms that we wanted. So things like social constructivism, inclusion, students with special needs, arts, drama, universal design. And what we did, we had to silently walk around this very long table. And whenever we got to the what we designated the front of the table, you could rearrange everyone's post-its. We were trying to create like a concept map with
right,
all of the shared post-its. And
mhm,
I had I definitely had written down autism. I think
mhm,
maybe I don't know if it was special education, something like that.
mhm,
And arts, uh, experiential learning, and probably social constructivism. And I
mhm,
had linked autism with social constructivism, experiential learning, field
mhm,
trips, things like that. I tried to group that together, but every time I came around to the front of the table, autism, special education, students with special needs were all off relegated to the side of the table, disconnected from anything. I think there was only one note connected to them, and it was schooling, but they weren't connected to any of the other terms, and I would move them back, and every time I got back around to the front of the table, there they were again, segregated. So
yeah,
even in a Post-it note activity, people could not conceptualize how these learners, like, fit in with the whole. And this be and then me
Mhm.
thinking about, like, I know these are committed, caring educators who
Mhm.
aren't really thinking about what this represents, but this represents something. This is a microcosm
Yeah.
of the issue, the bigger issue of how are we preparing teachers and
Mhm.
preparing people in society in general to think about how we are all connected and how
Yeah.
we are all part of community. Um, and so that just stayed with me, this
Yeah.
idea of we are doing something wrong in teacher education and education probably more broadly as well, because people have trouble conceptualizing where autistic students fit, where
Yeah.
otherwise neurodivergent disabled students fit.
Yeah.
And after that, so probably about a year later, year or two later, once I was done my dissertation, I started teaching in teacher education.
Mhm.
And I taught an intro to special education course. And it was a mandatory course in a graduate level teacher education program. And teacher candidates were all quite anxious about, okay, but what do we do? How do we manage behaviors? How do we, you know, that was sort of the central question they all
Yeah.
had. And they still had this idea that special education was only for certain people. So
Mhm.
only certain teachers are special educators. They're
Yeah.
the ones responsible for those kids. And
Those kids.
the way this class was taught, it actually, was a bit of a misnomer because it was more about general educators and how they serve everyone, right?
Yeah.
But it had evolved, and it had to have that title for some sort of bureaucratic reason. And my job became to teach them what I thought they needed to know, but also give them the tools so that they didn't feel alone to problem solve, like to not be afraid of students, to not be afraid that they couldn't support students. And I ended up thinking, like, how we teach in courses on special education contribute to the
Yeah.
problem, because you have a one-off class on ADHD, a one-off class on autism, a one-off class on learning disabilities.
Yeah.
We're not teaching about how do you teach everybody together and what does that look like.
Mhm.
And I began to think, for those of us who visualize, uh, uh, you know, it is very hard to teach differently than how you were taught, how you experienced education, unless,
Mhm.
and research shows this as well, right? That unless you are reflexive and are really thinking about why you're doing something, what is the impact, not just the intention,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
look, challenging some of the things you have just taken to be the way things are done, um, we will replicate things, which replicates societal um, patterns already. It replicates,
Title structures. Yeah.
yes, yes. Um,
Mhm.
I'm sorry. um, and so I thought I need to design something different. I need to design my own course and something
Mhm.
that aims to depathologize, that um, exposes teacher candidates, whether they're neurodivergent or not, to um, research by disabled, research and writing and talks and
Mhm.
things by disabled, autistic, ADHD, neurodivergent, all sorts of
Mhm.
authors.
Mhm.
Challenges the lens,
Yeah.
challenges how we do things, models different ways of doing things.
Yeah.
And so that was sort of at the graduate level that was happening.
Yeah.
And how I designed the course actually lines up a lot with the book.
Mhm.
But then I was experimenting with things in my elementary classroom, and there was this sort of bi-directional impact happening where I
Mhm.
would try something in one setting and go, wow, that really worked. I should see if it works with other learners.
Mhm.
Um, and so then
Yeah.
most of the things that I talk about in my book, I have done with children and I've done with adults
Yeah.
really successfully. And it's been such incredible learning for me. I have to say I am, and I don't usually say this about things that I produce, but I'm like, I also feel pretty good about this book. I feel, oh, do I want to say the
You
word
should.
proud? I'm like,
You should. No, I really think that it's such an important book because it does challenge that idea that autism or any, you know, any person should be apart from the norm.
Mhm,
Like, we are all just people, and we all have a place in the classroom, and there is room for everyone in the
mhm,
classroom, really. Um, and and you get so practical and detailed about how to design classroom spaces and learning
mhm,
to actually be able to adapt.
mhm.
Um, and I think if every teacher had a course that was based around what you write in this book, um, that would have an impact on students of all ages everywhere.
Well, that tends to be the feedback that I get from graduate students is they all say this should be a mandatory course and it's,
Yeah.
personally and professionally transformative. Like there's just the kind things that they say. I feel really blessed to be able to be a part of
Mm,
their growth and have those conversations with them. And I feel more optimistic about the future of education, knowing people are going into the profession
yeah,
eons ahead of where I was when I entered the profession,
yeah,
in terms of their knowledge and understanding of these concepts. And
yeah,
it, yeah, I really, I'm glad that I can sort of put it in book form and put it into the
mm,
world.
yeah. So, I wrote this question down,
Okay.
and you already kind of answered it, but I just wanted to put it, like, out there and make it, like, really underline it here.
Okay.
Um, what's the age range of students that you feel like the contents of this book, the advice that you're giving about learning spaces and teaching various types of learners, what's the age range of students that this book applies to?
I believe it applies to all learners. I, you
Thank
know,
you.
I give I give examples, usually from sort of middle schooler students.
Mhm,
Some I actually have contributions from teachers, reflecting on their classrooms. So there are some teachers
mhm.
in higher ed and some teachers in
Yeah,
secondary, as well as primary and middle schools throughout their stories, these windows into
mhm.
classrooms.
Yeah,
Um, but again, this gives many guidelines and ideas for what
mhm,
teachers can do,
mhm.
that are highly adaptable across subjects, across grade levels,
Yeah,
and there is, brain research and
yeah,
information that happens in our brains, whether we are in kindergarten or we're in graduate school. So I think there is a lot to be gleaned, whatever age or stage a teacher is teaching at.
I agree.
Yay!
I agree. No, and I just really wanted to underscore that because, I mean, in this book, you have contributions um, from teachers, from adult students, and, like, I'm looking at a quote right now from a 7-year-old, you
Yes.
know? And, so you're really covering the age range of students, and really making it applicable to all age ranges,
Hmm.
um, and all types of learners, because you describe in this book different types of learners.
Yes.
And when I first read that, I was like, "Yes, thank you." Can
Yeah.
you talk about that real quick?
Sure. So I wanted to move away from labels, not because labels don't matter. Certainly, You and I
Mhm.
both know labels have made us, a profound difference in our self-understanding, things like that. But a label does not tell a teacher very much on its own.
No.
Um, a label can give you a little bit of a hypothesis of what
Mhm.
situations or types of tasks could be a challenge or could be a strength of a particular student. But as I say frequently in the book, like ultimately students are your best resource. You need to get to know each student individually. But I do think for planning purposes, if you plan with a couple of sort of broader categories in mind, I do think it encompasses everybody in the room. And
Mhm.
so the more I thought about it, like, how do I plan? What are the things that I do that people have found helpful? They
Mhm.
fell into sort of five categories.
Yeah.
And in our lifetime and in different subjects, you might fall into various categories. You can move between categories at different times, but they're basically activated attention systems, which are those sort of attention systems and nervous systems that uh, attend in different ways. Either they're very vigilant about what's happening, they're noticing every detail in the room. They have monotropic focus, for instance.
Mhm.
Um, so, in the book, I give a couple of examples of how a label could fall within certain ones.
Mhm.
So, I think many autistic people, people with ADHD, people who've experienced trauma, um, could fall into this category. Certainly for some subjects, if not all. Alternative communicators. So, planning for people who either have a preference at times for or rely on alternative communication, whether that's full on
Mhm.
AAC or just
Mhm.
like enjoying having a choice of response. So it doesn't always have to be oral,
Yeah.
spoken language.
Mhm.
So making sure that there are different ways of participating
Yeah.
and sharing thoughts and asking questions.
Mhm.
And specialized processors, different ways learners process information or experience information. So one of the examples that I talk about a couple of times in the book are learners who have aphantasia and
Yeah.
do not um, do not have an internal visualization
Mhm.
or sensory, like they don't call to mind sensory information
Yeah.
in their memories or imagination.
Mhm.
So that'd be an example of a specialized processor. But I go through many different ways learners process information and things to think about, things, little ways to adapt.
Mhm.
Distinct decoders, which are learners who have a different relationship with text, whether that's dyslexia, hyperlexia, just how they read, how they decode, keeping in mind those needs, and measured movers. So measured movers could be a student who, has a cast and is getting around the classroom, on crutches. It could be
Mhm.
a wheelchair user. It could be
Mhm.
someone who's a little bit clumsy or someone who has a coordination disorder. Just
Mhm.
thinking about how the space is experienced and how we can also bring in movement in a variety of ways. So
Yeah.
not just one way.
Mhm. And just to clarify, um, people can fall into several of these categories.
Oh, yes. So, I certainly have an activated attention system much of the time.
Mm.
There will be subjects I do not want to speak in at all, and I would definitely want some of those alternative communication options.
Mm.
I'm a specialized processor in many ways.
Mm.
Um, and I'm a measured mover, but some of this would be subject dependent. You might have a subject you
Mhm.
really, really love, um, and how you interact within that subject is different than how
Yeah.
you are in another. Like math anxiety for me is pretty significant, and
Mhm.
so in those subjects, I would probably need different supports from different categories
Yeah.
than I would in others.
Yeah. That's one of the points that really stuck with me when I first read the book. Um, and actually from I think this was from the first chapter that you sent me. was that the whole point of thinking of people in terms of everyone has support needs,
Mm-hmm.
not just those people who are labeled
Mm-hmm.
with support needs. You know, that's something that really stuck with me, and that's something I have been telling people
Oh,
ever
good.
since. Like, it's something that I remind parents of.
Yes.
It's something I remind my colleagues of. Um, and, if I'm doing a presentation somewhere, I try to bring that in because I think it's such an important shift in how we think
Mm-hmm.
about diagnostic labels.
Yes.
Um, because we're always talking about, oh, but support needs this or high and low functioning
Oh,
this and
yeah.
that. And,
And
ugh. Um, that one gives me the heebie-jeebies now.
yes.
Um, but this shift to thinking, everyone has support needs. It's
Mhm.
not about whether or not you have support needs, it's about
What do you
which
need?
support needs
Yes.
and which support needs in this particular context at this
Hmm.
particular time of your life.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
And here's an anecdote from my graduate teaching. So
Mhm.
I began to do something. I can't remember if it started in elementary or in graduate school, but I did it in both. And I started to teach accessibility tools. So in my graduate course, it would be one tool a class.
Yeah.
So I would show them. I think the first one I show them is the app Speechify, but the Google Read and Write. There are multiple um, s- uh, text readers, and I
Yeah.
would challenge them to test it out. I would show them how it worked and would say, try it next time you have a reading and
Yeah.
see if you process it differently.
Yeah.
And let me know. Let me know in your self-reflection later if you try it, if you like it, if you hate it. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter to me. I'm not offended one way or another, but I'm going to introduce you to tools and
Mhm.
I'll encourage you to try them and see what you learn about yourself.
Yeah.
And without fail, every single time I have taught a course, and since I started doing accessibility tools, I have
Mhm.
had a handful come back and say, "Oh my goodness, I used to read readings multiple times. I would get really stuck. I would have trouble remembering things.
Mhm.
But when I listen to it, or whatever the tool
Yeah.
is that some of them really like Bionic Reading Font. There's a
Mhm.
number of tools. I write about many of them in the book as well, but
Yeah.
they will suddenly be able to access
Yeah.
something. And these are adult learners. And I
Yeah.
kept thinking, why aren't we doing this earlier? Why
Yeah.
aren't we teaching children
Exactly.
different tools, getting their insights on their brains, like what
Yeah.
is working for them?
Yeah.
Because when they know, and when we know, it's
Exactly.
so much easier to support them, and it's so much easier for them to self-advocate.
Yeah.
Like everybody benefits.
Yeah. And even, like, for the individual student, learning about your own learning style and your own support needs in learning,
Mhm.
um, I feel like we could prevent so many kids from thinking they're stupid.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how I felt when I was talking to graduate students going, "Oh my gosh, I just thought I
Mm.
was slower than everybody else. I thought I was
Yeah.
dumb." Like those are the kinds of stories they end up telling themselves after years and years of processing in different ways,
Yeah.
rather than just teaching children from the get-go, people process in different ways. What sounds more like you?
Yeah.
Not one
Yeah.
is not better than the other, you know?
No. No, it really isn't. Actually, this ties into something else I really love about the book, and we've already mentioned it a little bit, but I really love the nerd alerts. The nerd alert parts of each chapter. So in each chapter, you have a section that's nerd alert. Here's some brain information about
Yes.
this thing. And I'm a nerd, and
Me
I
too.
love brain things.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, yay, now we're taking this from here's something I experienced, here's something I tried out and it worked.
Yes.
But then you're backing it up with the
Mm.
why it works or why it's important. And that to me just makes the points of this book land so much better. And
Mhm.
it won't for everyone because some people aren't
And they
into
can skip the nerd alert
they
sections.
can
That
skip
is
the nerd
fine.
alert. But I love the fact that you've really taken the time to dig into that.
Mhm.
I mean, you're a nerd like me,
Yeah.
so I mean, of course you would. But I really love that it's there because it means that for those teachers who pick up this book and start thinking, "Oh, this sounds like a good idea, but is it really backed by
Yes.
evidence? Is there really a reason for me to do this? Is this just some hippie teacher from Canada that's got some fancy idea?" Like, no, no, it
All of
isn't.
the above.
This is well, all of the above, yes, but it's backed
Yes.
by real science and experience,
Mhm.
and the fact that you can see it working for the vastly different age ranges that you teach,
Mhm.
to me just mm, I love the combination. I don't
Yeah.
think anybody else could have written this book.
Oh, thank you so much.
Um,
Yeah, no, to me that
I'm
I
fangirling today. It's
oh,
my turn.
I appreciate it. Um, I have been working with teachers almost since I started teaching, actually, because my job involved a lot of collaborative mentorship and professional development, like offering in services. And my doctoral research was on teacher professional development needs related to teaching autistic students. I used high functioning autism, so um, I
That
I
was the label back
that
then.
was and that was the particular population that I
Mm,
was drawing on, and but there's a lot I would change now. But what I have found teachers and people in general need, you know, well, teachers first of all value information shared by colleagues. That is one of
mhm,
the biggest sources. It's like, okay, this is another teacher. They actually get it. They
yeah,
know what they're talking about.
mhm,
Anecdotes, stories, ways so that they can see how it works and
yeah,
imagine how it would work, helping them to visualize or otherwise make sense of what it could look like.
yeah,
And then, of course, the brain based rationale, right? Because that's we do so many things intuitively or that we do well without necessarily knowing exactly why it works.
yeah,
And having that just helps to reinforce, you know what, I'm not going to forget to do this because I know this is what my students with alternative communication needs will
yeah.
benefit from. Like it just all of those things together, I hope make it a powerful argument for the things that I am suggesting trying to bring into one's classroom.
I think it
Thank you.
is. Um, so I have 2 questions that I really want to get through today. Um, I really wanna know, um so one is a little bit more broad and one is specifically about the book.
Okay.
Um, gee, which one first?
You pick.
Okay, okay. Um, what does neurodiversity affirming mean to you? Like, if we were I don't necessarily think like a definition,
Yes,
but
yes.
like what does it mean that something is neurodiversity affirming?
It is something that um, validates all ways of knowing, being, and doing, I guess. Not
Mhm,
assuming there's only one correct way or there even being a superior way. Sort of this
mhm,
openness to different experiences
mhm,
and ways of building an accessibility so that everyone can access, can participate, can be supported, and have a level of challenge, choice, and um, support that they benefit from, that they need, that they want.
I love that. God, Kara, you're so smart.
Uh,
Mm. No, but okay. As sometimes, Kara,
mhm.
if I can, maybe this is a personal thing. Maybe I shouldn't
Say
like
it, say it, say it.
say
It's
this
okay.
on the podcast, but
Safe
like
space.
I've known you for a couple of years, and I know I'm not stupid.
Oh, you definitely
I'm
are.
not a stupid person. You know, I'm not unintelligent. Um, but you you are so articulate
Hmm.
and so thoughtful.
I never feel like it on the podcast, I have to say. But when I turn on professional Kara, I feel better.
No, but like when I talk to you, I have these moments where I'm like, I want to know what it's like in your brain.
Oh, you don't? Yeah.
um, maybe that's the psychologist
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Like,
I guess it's a little
uh,
like a beautiful mind and all the thoughts everywhere. And it's like, oh, this thought, which one do I follow?
but it's like you. I always have the feeling that there's so much more going on behind the scenes than what you're letting me into.
Because there always is a million things going on in my brain. Yes.
Kira,
Yeah.
um, wait, am I a good psychologist?
You're pretty
No.
remarkable.
No, that was a joke. That was stupid. I'm sorry. Um, no, but there's so much more going on, but then you manage to grasp whatever point you choose to make and make it understandable to little old me. And I appreciate that.
Oh, that's lovely.
Um, so, gosh, writing a book is so hard.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And I know that this book was definitely harder for you to write than the first one.
Yes.
I think you put in a remarkable superhuman effort to take all of these really, really big ideas
Mhm,
and make them tangible
mhm.
and concrete and um, manageable, I
Oh,
think.
yeah. That was so,
Um,
so hard.
and it is, I think, I mean, I had the same kind of experience when I was writing the energy accounting book because it's like, how do I boil all of this down
Mhm.
into something that is readable?
Yes.
It, and so I imagine that the process for you of writing this book was, well, I know because I was
You were
we
part of it.
were
You're privy
texting
to it the
and
whole way.
talking and like, but it was intense
Yes.
and really hard.
Yes, it was. Yeah, and especially I would say compared to my first book. My first book was a lot easier because for a number of reasons. So one, I had been presenting on supporting autistic learners for like over like a decade, I guess, at that
Mhm.
point. So it was mentally organized because of all my
Yeah,
PowerPoints, and I
yeah,
knew sort of the sequence based on how I had done that.
yeah.
I also,
Relatable.
yeah,
Completely the same for me with energy accounting.
and
Like, you
the
have the
first,
PowerPoints,
yeah,
you know what you're gonna say, but
it's there, right? And
yeah,
I was also lucky that I was writing it. Um, I think like 2020, and I wrote it in like 3 or 4 months. Like it did not take me long at all. It was also the stay-at-home period, so I was like teaching from home, but I didn't have commuting. I didn't have there that made it easy that I wasn't going anywhere. So I
Yeah.
had more time to sit in those 3 or 4 months and really do it. And I'd also done most of the research as part of my dissertation already. So that was
Mhm.
easy to pull from,
Yeah.
because I had defended that in the previous December. So a few months before I wrote the book. So significantly less work because of all the front loading of work.
Yeah.
This book idea was like, I have this idea, there needs to be something like this. Um,
Mhm.
but I,
This
of
book needs
course,
to exist.
yeah, I, of course, knew so much more about autistic learners and less about other neurodivergent learners, less about processing in general. So
Mhm.
there was a lot more that I had to research.
Mhm.
And uh yeah, so I had sort of the frame, like I knew what I wanted to accomplish. I knew I wanted a chapters to be on different parts of the learning process.
Mhm.
So like how environment impacts learning.
Mhm.
And then I think you have the book, in front of you, I don't, then there's sort of information processing, like the how the teacher communicates and how
Mhm.
that is processed by the learner. There's how we get learners to um, deeply learn. So how do we
Mhm.
get things into long term, help them get things into long term memory?
Mhm.
There, and then there are a couple of chapters that touch on aspects of executive functioning. So how do we get them to brainstorm, get mentally
Yeah.
organized, um, all the way through completing a project. So
Mhm.
activating, getting things done,
Yeah.
assessing, and then and then I think the last focus is more on
How we plant seeds for change.
yes, collaboration and problem solving
Mhm.
together. But yeah, so I knew I wanted to go through the whole like sequence.
Mhm.
Um, but it took me forever. And I asked for
Mhm.
maybe two extensions, definitely one extension. And I had
Mhm.
so many things in my personal life that were happening at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Death of my aunt was pretty impactful.
Mhm.
The death of my cousin, who the book is dedicated to, actually, and I renovated, I moved, I like went had a
Everything
flood,
happened all
had a
at once.
basement flood, like so many things. I think my grandmother died as well. There was a lot that happened. Um,
Yeah.
so it took me years to write this book.
Yeah.
It was truly a labor of love, and um, I it was hard to organize and get all the ideas organized. And I have to say, JKP, Jessica Kingsley Publishers, did an amazing job with layout. Like, it just looks better the way it's laid out. It just like
It looks amazing.
seems
It really
accessible.
does. Yeah.
I can't wait
Um,
to leaf through it.
yeah. No, it's really good. I
Mhm.
actually I really love that I have this book before
I
you do.
know. And the first time I posted, it's your hands holding the book.
Yeah.
It's like, here's the book in hand, not my hands.
Yeah.
Maya's hands.
No, but also because the same thing kind of happened with energy accounting, like, other
Yes.
people had that before I had it.
Yes.
So it's like a theme now.
Yeah.
Um, no, it's actually it's a really nice book. Like, it's not too heavy, but it's still, like, really nice quality.
Mhm.
I like touching books. Do you like touching
Oh,
books? Is
I
it a
love
nerd
touching
thing?
books. I love smelling books. Like, oh yeah, everything about
Yeah,
books.
yeah. No, it's libraries, am I right?
Oh, I've been at the library twice this week. I love libraries.
Mm. Um, okay, so is there, like, one central point from the book that you would want everyone to know? Like, if you could spread, like, one message to every teacher in the world, just like Inception.
I'm gonna cheat a little bit and give you like three messages.
Okay.
One, there is no normal.
Yeah.
uh, two, what is two? The power of collaboration, I think, is a really big point
Yeah.
of this book. Um,
Mhm.
and you know, you are never alone. And I think we are always afraid as teachers, because we feel like we are. It's like every single problem that happens is ours to solve.
Yeah.
And that is a huge responsibility, a huge mantle to bear. And, um, but I have felt a lot freer since I realized it's not all on me to solve. And I know how to collaborate with students, with other
Yeah.
teachers, with parents, but especially with students,
Mhm.
um, to at least get started on solving a problem, if not solving it completely, and often solving it completely.
Mhm.
Um, and I no longer carry that fear. And it's so much more empowering to realize, you know, you can solve things, and you can solve things deeply, but
Mhm.
it is never done unilaterally. It's always done in collaboration. Because I can make a guess about why something is hard for little Johnny, you know, but that is just a guess. And I think I use the analogy in the opening or the closing of the book, I don't remember which, where I say, like, when we try to solve things without information from students, it's a
Mhm.
little like that game show gimmick, Plinko, which has like all of these like sort of rungs, and you drop a ball and it sort of zigzags, and you're hoping it'll land somewhere, but it probably won't. It'll probably go somewhere else. So it's not very efficient. It's not very effective. But so this would be the third point. Students are our best resources. When you truly get students opening up, however they're comfortable to open up, and
Mhm.
enlightening you about what the barriers they might be experiencing are and what they think might help, then it becomes like darts. It is
Yeah.
so much more targeted. And I have learned so much from students by just asking them those questions and not jumping in with a solution. Because when
Mhm.
we jump in with a solution, we actually rob students of the ability to realize they can probably solve their own problems too. They can express themselves. They can, um, uh, yeah, I've just seen so many gains from sitting with students and saying, okay, what part is easy? What part feels
Yeah.
hard? Or like, why do you think it's hard? Or
Mhm.
um, what do you think would help? Asking the
Mhm.
right questions and
Yeah.
getting a sense of, okay, well, do you think this would work? Or why that and not this? Oh, that part's not a problem at all. Okay, you're comfortable with that. All right, so this is actually where you're experiencing difficulty. Okay,
Mhm.
now that we know this, let's try to figure out what I can do, what you can do, what can be changed in the environment. Um, and that has helped me help other students as well, right? Carry
Mhm.
that forward. And I've learned so much, and often what I've learned is when I make an assumption, it is usually incorrect. It's not always, like, I have pretty good intuition, but and it's okay to go in with a hypothesis, but you have to be open to the fact that it could very well be wrong.
I mean, people are the experts on themselves.
Mhm.
That's something I use a lot in my work as well,
Mhm.
is, yeah, I have a psychology degree,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know you.
No.
So really having like, yes, I have that academic baggage with me,
Mhm.
and that's a good thing in many cases, but not always. Um, but having that kind of take a back seat and approaching someone with the humility of saying, I'm not the expert on you.
Mhm.
I'm going to be curious about you,
Yes.
and we'll find out the solution together.
Exactly. It just takes curiosity. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right.
Um, actually, I, it's so weird, but there's a part of the book that I put a Post-it on,
Okay.
before we started recording this podcast, um, because I thought this part of the book was something that I would wanna read out loud.
Hmm.
Um, I would usually have you read it out loud, but since I have the book and you don't, um, is that okay with you?
Of course, of course.
Okay. So this is really related to what we just said.
Okay.
So this is from your concluding thoughts, and what you wrote is, "Listening has changed everything in my classroom. Even though challenges come up from time to time, They are far less frequent or intense. I feel empowered to take them all on, knowing I'm not alone. The added bonuses are that I'm calmer, I have more fun, and I have energy in spades since I don't waste all my time trying to get students to do what I've asked. I spend more time enjoying and hearing what students have to say, and they've taught me so much. At times, I sound like a broken record, thanking them for teaching me strategies I can share with other students. They've given me feedback on things I can do better, and I've used them to improve. I can confidently say it's because of my students that I've come to center my pedagogy around access, agency, and well-being. In doing so, I hope students can envision and experience a world where their ideas and opinions are important and where they can find solutions individually and collectively, where all kinds of minds can work together.
Mhm.
I love this section, and I especially I love the whole point, but I especially love the first sentence. Listening has changed everything in my classroom. That curiosity that you have, that you carry with you in your work is so profound and so rare. I've had so many so many teachers in my life, and I think what really separates the good teachers from the average teachers or the meh teachers, um, the good teachers were ones who were
Mhm.
interested in their subject, interested in their class, interested in each individual student. And that excitement and curiosity and interest
Mhm.
in being there, um, I think is contagious.
Yes.
So that's one thing that I admire about you,
Oh, thank you.
but also I feel like it's that active listening and the active reflection you do about what you hear that even means that you were able to write this book.
Yes.
So it's not just changed everything about your classroom,
Mhm.
it's about to change a whole lot of classrooms.
Yes, and hopefully ease teachers' anxieties, especially new teachers,
Yeah.
because I don't think I was the best listener in my first year or two. I got into
Mm,
more power struggles for sure, and but my intentions were always good, and I think most teachers' intentions are
mhm,
good. Um,
of course.
we're doing the best we can, but we're often in survival mode because you have so many
Yeah,
students, so many needs, so many students you're not exactly sure how to help, but you really want to, and it keeps you up at night. And so many, demands from administration, from parents, from colleagues,
mhm,
and you're making decisions all of the time. And it's
yeah,
it's very hard to catch a breath. It's very hard to take a pause. But when we
mhm,
take the pauses, it actually helps. It helps us, it helps our students, it helps us to make decisions from a thoughtful and intentional place and a reflective place.
yeah,
Um, and again, we can release some of that burden that like I have to do everything. I have to be perfect, just like our
mm,
students, right? Like a learner is a learner is
yeah,
a learner, and teachers are learners too.
yeah,
And we'll be much happier if we realize, again, we don't need to know it all.
mhm,
We get better as we go. We add to what we're already doing well all of the time.
yeah,
So I hope that this, I know you can pick up a book and feel overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, there's so much I'm not doing. But I really hope a lot of it is validating.
yeah,
And I always encourage people to take one or two ideas, like just a couple of ideas to try. Don't try to do everything. Don't try to overhaul everything. Add to
mhm,
what you're already doing well. Maybe
yeah,
get rid of something you think isn't serving you or serving your students,
mhm,
and see where it goes, and
yeah.
grow a little every year.
Small changes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And recognizing that, life is a journey and our our professional lives are also a journey.
Yes, they are.
You don't have to know everything from
No.
day one. You don't have to be perfect,
Yeah.
you
I'm a
know?
very different teacher, every single year, probably like a little, like I change in various ways, like gain
Mm,
confidence. I add to my practice all the time.
yeah.
Um, Yeah, and most of that comes from my interactions with students, with someone saying, "Oh, closed captions really benefited me." Okay, I'm never going to forget to put on closed captions, you know?
Yeah,
Um, so that would just be like a small example, but
yeah.
I've moved substantially away from where I was at the beginning of my career when I
Mm,
was trained to kind of do like the ABA thing and have tracking systems and reward
mhm.
systems, and
Oh god.
I threw those all
Hello,
out the
gold
window.
stars.
Yeah, I threw it all out the window, and my students
Yeah,
have never been happier. I have never learned more, and I have students in elementary school and in graduate school who
yeah,
set goals for themselves all of the time, every week,
yeah.
track those goals, and let me know how it's going. And I get to coach them. I get to coach them with whatever matters to them.
And
And
they get to learn that they have the power
yes,
to
exactly.
learn.
Yes. And to
And
set goals for themselves and improve at
yeah,
things that like so their metacognition, they're thinking about their own thinking and learning is improving. Their expressive language is improving because they're talking to me about what's working, what's not, what's hard. Their
yeah,
problem solving, their self-advocacy, like just so many things grow from making a little bit of room each week to talk to students and to ask them those questions.
yes. Mm. Okay, I love that point. And I kind of feel like we should end on it,
Sure.
but also I wrote something down before we started recording that I really kind of want to get your opinion on. Also because something you said earlier about the pressure to be perfect and like all the things that teachers have to do is like what I wrote down kind of adds to that, but also it's really important. Um, Something that really stuck with me when I read your book is that importance of community in the classroom,
Mhm.
and not just among the students, but including the teacher. Like how much the teacher, as a person, as a human being, is a part of their own classroom culture. Um, and not that they shape it all by themselves, but they are a huge influence. And that the seeds they plant in how students um, treat each other, how they come together to solve problems, um, how they see each other, how much that matters.
Yes.
Um, and to me, it's really bringing. I don't know if this is a really hippie thing to say, but like it takes the professionalism away from the teacher a little bit, and it's just a reminder that the teacher is a person.
Mm.
And I think it resonates with me because one of the things that we were taught in university about being a psychologist was professional distance.
Yes.
It's like you're now in this room as a psychologist. You are not Maya
Mhm.
anymore. You are psychologist Maya.
Yeah.
Um, and I always felt that was so strange
Yeah.
because as a person who obviously has spoken to a number of psychologists. um, the ones that really made a difference were the ones who weren't distant.
Hmm.
And and so I feel like reintroducing a professional in your life, an authority in your life, with their personhood at the
Yes.
front and with their professionalism taking kind of a back seat and being, yeah, it's there. Um, and using that to shape the culture
Hmm.
that we are all just people here. And yes, I'm your teacher. I'm not going to be your best friend.
No.
That's not how this works. But I am a human being.
I think that's an interesting um, mental association that you and many people probably have about professionalism, because
Mm,
I don't see professionalism as needing to be distanced or cold.
no.
You know, but I think many people make that, like, without thinking about it, think about that as being connected.
Yeah.
But, the brain research shows us we learn best from people we like. We learn best from
Mm.
people we see as being part of our community.
Yeah.
The power of even one warm adult can be transformative for a learner who's experienced trauma.
Yeah.
There's just so many things about relational safety as the
Yeah.
foundation for learning, as the
Mhm.
foundation for helping someone else's nervous system to settle, so they are in
Yep.
a place where they can learn, remember,
Yep.
take risk, participate. All of these things that shut down when they're in environments where those things don't happen, where they are not connected, where they feel afraid, where they uh, then don't remember what they're being taught. They
Mhm.
don't participate. They don't get to practice. It just shuts down everything that we need to have happening.
Mhm.
So
It
yeah,
does.
anxiety is the nemesis of learning, and teachers are sort of like, I don't know, I don't quite have the analogy, but I feel like there are a whole bunch of spokes. One of them is the teacher that helps to connect them to other community members. Like, teachers really set such a tone.
Mm. Yeah.
And how we treat learners is imitated by other students.
Yeah.
If we're short or irritated,
Mhm.
others will take on that tone.
Yeah.
We're teaching all the time, whether we mean to or not.
Yeah.
And I think this book is also a call to be as intentional as possible, be as authentic as possible, apologize when you need to, show
Mhm.
students that you're growing yourself and you're learning and you're making changes based on what they're saying, the feedback that they're giving you, and to really think about goals for students like that you would like to have. Because I think often we go, yeah, I want them to be responsible and independent. And whether or not those are things that are actually important, I don't think everyone has to be independent. But if those are the long-term
I don't
goals
think
that you
anyone is independent.
ever, I think interdependence is great. But either way, you'll hear a lot of adults say they want the children to be independent, but are they
Mhm.
giving them chances to be independent?
And are they teaching them what that means? Like,
Exactly.
what do you mean when you say
Yes.
independent? Like,
Yeah.
what are you asking of me?
Are you then, as a teacher, releasing some of, like, some of the control that you have to give students chances to
Mhm.
experiment, grow, try things out, be so-called independent, because
Yeah, like, instead of telling students that you want them to be independent, then empower them to be independent.
exactly. So I think that's the other part, is we're thinking about um, what do we want for this community of learners? How can I help them to get there?
Mhm.
And for me, I always think very long term. Like, I want everyone to um, participate in society and feel like they can make change and feel like they can advocate not just for themselves but for other people. So then,
Mhm.
am I helping them to know what it means to advocate? Am I showing them that when they do advocate, people will respond to what they're saying?
Yeah.
Um, I think that's a really powerful experience that will hopefully keep it going beyond the year or a couple of years they spend with me.
Hmm. I think you are already making a huge difference. I
Mm.
mean, I think I think all of the teachers you have had in your class um, will carry those lessons with them into their profession as a teacher.
Which gives me so much
Um,
hope.
yeah, and I just think that with this book, you are going to reach people all over the world, and yeah, you're going to change so many lives with this,
Thank you.
and at every age of learners, you know, and it's never too late to make a difference.
No,
Um, and I think that's something that I hope teachers understand when they pick up this book, is that if you have someone, whether you have a like ninth grade student or
mhm,
you have a university student who feels that they're not getting it, or that maybe they aren't as smart as everybody else, or
mm.
maybe they feel like they're not confident, like it's never too late to make a difference in someone's life.
No, it's not.
It's never too late to give them the tools that you describe in this book.
Hmm.
um
I do one of the lessons that I do in my grad course. I also do part of this with my elementary students.
yeah.
But when I'm teaching them about like processing speed, things like that, there's
Mhm.
a wonderful book um, by Barbara Oakley called Uncommon Sense Teaching that I drew on quite a bit in my research. But she uses an analogy of some people are hiker brains, some people are race car brains. The
Yeah.
race car brains will very quickly like jump to conclusions, like they know where the teacher's going. They
Mhm.
fast often the fastest hand raisers, they think they know the answer really quickly.
Mhm.
Um, the hiker brain takes more time, takes in all the scenery, takes in all the trees and the rabbits and all the things.
Mhm.
And both have advantages.
Yeah.
Speed being one for the race car brain, but the hiker brain has an easier time of like changing their ideas, being flexible,
Yeah.
coming to a more nuanced understanding. The race car brain is more quick to think they're right, and it can be inflexible.
Yeah.
But neither one is better than the other. And when I teach that to graduate students, I have people basically confess to me that they have always thought, again, like we were talking about earlier, like they've
Yeah.
always thought they were dumb in comparison
Mhm.
to other students. There's this comparative thing that happens in schools that we need to
Yeah.
get rid of.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
and hearing it
Definitely.
posed that way like releases this
Yeah.
pent up, I don't know, shame, or just like dispels a myth, a belief that they have
Yeah.
about themselves that is incorrect, and allows them to just accept how they process.
Mhm.
It's only one lesson. Imagine if you did that all the time. Imagine if you could
Yeah.
get that message in when they were young before it really settles.
Imagine if you get that lesson in maybe once a year as they're growing up, and as the world around us keeps telling us to compare ourselves to everybody else and
Mm-hmm.
putting us on this race against each other.
Yes.
Um, I I just think how much of a difference it could make to the mental health of
Yes.
students
Yeah.
to really have that manifest, that I'm not wrong for having the brain I have.
No.
Whatever destination there is, I'll get there.
Yeah. I'll take whatever route,
Yeah.
whatever whatever way necessary.
Yeah. Oh, I think this is so beautiful.
And one other thing I just wanted to say was I was so lucky. I received so many wonderful testimonials, like endorsements of the book prior to its release. You wrote one, which was great. And there are some teacher educators,
Mhm.
teachers, a principal, another two psychologists
Mhm.
endorsing the book. And um, two of my favorite researchers. I was so excited. So one is Dr. Linda Darling Hammond, who is huge. Like I told her she is the Taylor Swift of educational research. Um, oh my gosh, is she on the back of the book? And that's just part of, I think, what she said. I have them all on my website. But I just, I, and then Susan Baglieri as well, Dr. Susan Baglieri, who um, is really, really also teacher educator researches, wrote a wonderful book called, I think, Undoing Ableism.
Mhm.
And so disability study lens, like
Yeah.
incredible to have the reception that I've received, and other authors, Shelley Murphy, Lori Faith, just I I thought it was good, and then I heard all of that, and I went, "Other people think this is really good and valuable? Oh, wow." So that was a big confidence booster as well.
It's it's remarkable to me that you don't know how good you are.
The imposter syndrome is always there, except
You know,
actually
and
with teaching. I know that I'm a good teacher. I know I can always be better. I think this work is iterative. It's always ongoing, right?
it is. It is. But that's you you live the points that you're making in this book. You live that humility and that curiosity that you're presenting as tools.
Yeah. And I share a lot of embarrassing stories as well. I don't know why.
Mhm.
Oh my God. There's a lot of me in this book.
No, but it's important
Yeah, the stories. Yeah.
because it's this book is professional, it's academic, and it's personal. And it's your stories, it's other people's stories as well. It's how we all learn and develop as human beings through education and how much that shapes us. And it's important that you share. It's being the human being
Mhm,
behind that professional voice.
mhm.
It's not having that distance
Yep.
because distance doesn't make for great learning.
No, it does not. Mm.
So, mm, I really should have ended with asking, like, what's the one central point that you would want everyone to know? Um, gosh, I almost kind of feel like I should end the podcast by reading maybe just two of the blurbs here on the back.
Sure, sure. Because
Would that be
I don't know
okay?
what's on the back cover, so
You
tell me.
don't? Oh,
Because I haven't seen it.
okay. Well, so the top one is from Linda Darling Hammond. Um, and well, you know more about who she is than I do. So like
Oh,
I can read her title, but
oh my gosh. So she does international research into teacher education programs. She I think she just retired from, but she ran the like a huge research institute in the US. She has
mm,
taught at Stanford, just
Mhm.
incredible, tons of research on educational equity and teacher professional development. And um, anyone who's a teacher has probably read research by Linda Darling Hammett.
Mm. And what she says about your book is this valuable book is bursting with practical tools, research-informed strategies, and vivid examples that empower educators to enable all of their students to thrive. Dr. Kara Dymond's expertise, dedication, and compassion shine through. I couldn't agree more.
It's so strange to have like an actual expert call you an expert. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my gosh. Hmm.
Well,
and
here's
and researcher. Yeah.
yeah, but like, yeah. But as you're saying that, Dr. Lori Faith, assistant professor at University of Toronto and author of Executive Function Skills in the Classroom, she says Kara Dymond's feel for neurodiversity is unmatched. And that's saying something, isn't it?
Well, I'm so grateful to all of them, and I hope that I hear from other people who read the book, and I'd love to know how what resonates, what questions they still have. You know, not that I want to write another book anytime soon, but you never know. You could twist my arm a little.
I think what's going to happen, honestly, is that as this book spreads word of mouth throughout the entire world,
That would
you're
be
going to
nice.
hear from teachers and students from everywhere whose lives you've just completely changed.
I hope so. That would be wonderful. I really want to do more. I'd love to. I keep thinking I might leave the classroom and pursue higher education, like teacher education, more
Mm.
full time if there's ever a tenure track position. But
Yeah,
that'll be a hard thing to contend with in some ways. But I love researching and I love writing and I love knowing the ripple effect that will happen from teaching teachers who can go out and do this as well. And um, that that is a definite goal that I have.
yeah. Thank you for writing this book, Kara.
Well, thank you for being a huge part of my support system and helping me refine it and talk through all of my struggles throughout the several year long process.
You know what? I'm just looking forward to having like a stack of these books in my office and being able to like give them out to parents and kids like students and have them like take this back to your school.
Yes. Oh, that would be
Go.
amazing. Oh,
Um, I'm really looking forward to doing that. And I actually I I kind of already pre-sold a copy of
oh
your book
wow.
today. Yeah.
Amazing. Good for you,
Yeah.
doing better than me. Wow.
Well, I had a meeting today with someone who's a visual facilitator,
Mhm.
and I told her that I was recording a podcast tonight,
Yeah.
and then I showed her your book, and she was like, "I need that.
Oh,
Everybody needs that."
amazing.
Yeah.
I love
So,
that.
so you've already sold a book.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
For sale, maybe. Well, not for sale through me. I'm sure JKP has sold a few, but in pre-sales. But
Yeah.
mhm. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to
Mm.
ask me questions about it and be so prepared with questions and quotes that you wanted to read from the book.
I'm just excited for this book to come out. Like I said, I've been waiting.
Me too.
And now I get to shout from the rooftops,
Aw.
"Get Kara's book.
You're hired.
Yay!"
Yeah. I could manage your book, you manage mine, we'd do so much better promoting each other.
You know, it's true.
Yeah. so
Because the
bizarre.
imposter syndrome doesn't get in the way.
And all that humility, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk at length about all of the thoughts and big ideas that go into this book and the um, the impact that you are hoping and that I'm hoping that this book
Mhm.
will have.
Well, thank you. It's been a delight to be a guest on our podcast. and, and thank you, everybody, for tuning in and
Yeah.
sticking around and hearing about the process. And if you pick up a copy of the book, let me know what you think.
Yep. And also, as always, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Do check out our socials and stay tuned because more episodes keep coming. And
Got some good ones. Oh, some really cool guests coming up as well.
we do. We
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
There's so much good stuff happening. Yay. Bye.
Autistic Tidbits and Tangents.